Xavier, do you hear me?
Good evening, friends. You are welcome to participate in the National Education Policy webinar on Critical Analysis of NEP. Now we will begin this webinar with a short prayer by Brother Xavier.
Dear participants, we shall begin this webinar with this short prayer. Oh God, when I have food, help me to remember the hungry. When I have work, help me to remember the jobless. When I have a home, help me to remember those who have no home at all. When I am without pain, help me to remember those who suffer. And remembering, help me to destroy my complacency, bestow my compassion, and be concerned enough to help by word and deed those who cry out for what we take for granted. Dear participants, a warm welcome to this webinar on National Education Policy 2020. I would like to share a few words about today's speaker. As we are going to discuss on the topic National Education Policy 2020, it is fitting that we have Father Sebastian SJ as our resource person today. Father Sebastian is an educationist and has been in the field of education for the past 40 years. He has been the principal and secretary of St. Xavier's College of Education, Palayam Kotai, for several years. He is the founder of Loyola College of Education, Chennai, and at present, he is the secretary of the same institution. Now I gladly welcome Father Sebastian to take over the session.
Thank you, Brother Xavier, for leading us into prayer and for your words of introduction of me. Friends, now 4 of us from Loyola College of Education, Chennai, are going to share our critical analysis of NEP this evening. First, I will take up the introduction to the NEP and also the implementation part, and make some general observation about the NEP. Then our Assistant Professor Dr. Beulah Jeyarani of Pedagogy of Biological Science will discuss various aspects of school education found in the NEP. After that, Dr. Caroline Maria, Assistant Professor of Perspectives in Education, will give us her own analysis of the higher education policy presented in NEP. Then finally, Ms. Sridevi, Assistant Professor of Pedagogy of Mathematics, will present her views on curriculum and pedagogy in schools, professional education, and other key areas of focus such as adult education, promotion of Indian languages, arts and culture, and technology use and integration. After our presentation, the audience will be given a chance to present their own views on NEP and also raise questions or ask for clarification. Then with word of thanks, we will complete the whole webinar. Now let me begin with the introduction to NEP. Friends, at the beginning itself, the introduction, it is stated, providing universal access to quality education is the key to economic growth, social justice, equality, scientific advancement, national integration, and cultural preservation. It is very true. It's a beautiful statement which is required of us. Then also talks of the world is undergoing rapid changes in the knowledge landscape. It is true. The total knowledge present in the world doubles every day. It is important that children not only learn, but learn how to learn. Gone are the days we said learning is important. Now the children should know how to learn. Pedagogy must make education more experiential, holistic, integrated, discovery-oriented, learner-centered, discussion-based, flexible, and enjoyable. So education must build character, enable learners to be ethical, rational, compassionate, and caring, while at the same time prepare them for gainful, fulfilling employment. The aim of national education policy is to ensure equitable access to the highest quality education for all learners, regardless of social and economic background, with a particular focus on historically marginalized, disadvantaged, and underrepresented groups. It is very well stated. All of us will fully agree with all these statements. It's a beautiful introduction to NEP. This so far the educational policies presented by various commissions have identified first the drawbacks in the existing system, and they tried to modify and reduce the drawbacks. But this national education policy revamps all aspects of education structure, including its regulation and governance, to create a new system while remaining consistent with India's traditions and value system. I was to say it abolishes every structure present. I don't know whether that is wise enough to do that right now. The emphasis is on the development of the creative potential of each individual. Education must develop not only cognitive skills, but also social emotional skills known as soft skills, including cultural awareness and empathy, perseverance and greater teamwork, leadership and communication, etc. In our ancient India, education was not just the acquisition of knowledge as preparation for life in this world or life beyond schooling, but for complete realization and liberation of the self. And it is also given our famous universities like Chennai, Loyola, etc. Principles of this policy. 5 foundational pillars of this policy are: 1, access; 2, equity; 3, quality; 4, affordability; and 5, accountability. These are the 5 pillars on which the education policy should stand. It is very well said. All of us welcome that. It aims at producing engaged, productive, and contributing citizens for building an equitable, inclusive, and plural society as envisaged by our Constitution. National education policy is based on the following principles. It's clearly stated: 1, flexibility for learners to choose their paths in life according to their own talents, interests, and multiple exit and all is provided. No hard separation between arts and sciences, between curricular and co-curricular activities, between vocational and academic, etc. Multidisciplinary and holistic education across the social science, across the sciences, social sciences, arts and humanities are expressed here. Emphasis is on conceptual understanding, on creativity and critical thinking to encourage logical decision making and innovation, on ethics and human and constitutional values, and on life skills. Cooperation, teamwork, communication, resilience, and all are expressed clearly in the introduction. Regular formative assessment for learning is emphasized, not the summative assessment. Often presently, we give too much importance to summative assessment, forgetting the formative assessment that is accompanying the students at every stage of learning. It is said that this will eliminate coaching culture, but we have to go through the content of this the NEP. You find their way of presenting the whole system, new system is going to promote the coaching culture, mushrooming of culture, the institutions for coaching culture. Respect for diversity and respect for the local context in all curriculum, pedagogy and policy. Always keeping in mind that education is a concurrent subject. Remember that principle is important. It's a concurrent subject. Both center and state should work together. Full equity and inclusion as the cornerstone of all education decisions. Resource efficiency without any compromise on equity and quality. Very good principle. Teachers and faculty is the heart of the learning process. Their rigorous recruitment, preparation, continuous professional development, positive working environmental conditions should be provided. It's very well said. A light but tight regulation by a single overarching umbrella body. The body is Higher Education Commission of India, HECI, to ensure integrity and transparency of the educational system while simultaneously encouraging innovation and out-of-the-box ideas through autonomy, good governance, and empowerment. There is only one commission, the apex body, which decides everything. That is too much of centralization taking place in the new education policy. Outstanding research is emphasized. It's a welcome principle. Then continuous policy making based on regular analysis and then coming to right decisions, modifying the system. Very good. Education is a public service, not commercial activity or a source of profit. But the way the content of the NEP presented, as it is going to promote commercialization of education. Access to quality education must be considered as fundamental right of every citizen. It is rightly said. I wish that is implemented. But the content of the present national education policy doesn't reflect that. Substantial investment in a strong, vibrant public education system. The vision of education, new national education policy aims at building a global best education system rooted in Indian ethos, aligned with the principles enunciated above these principles, based on above these principles. These are the main principles on which the national education policy is based. But we have to critically analyze the content of the body of national education policy, whether all these principles are addressed. The implementation of a new education policy will be led by various bodies along with the timelines and plan for review, the spirit and intent of the policy. It is to be implemented in a phased manner. We can't implement the whole thing overnight. Prioritization will be important. Comprehensiveness in implementation will be the key. Can't do it in piecemeal. Interconnected and holistic way of presenting and implementing is required. Education is a concurrent subject. Again, it will need careful planning, joint monitoring, and collaborative implementation, both by center and state government. Timely infusion of requisite resources, human, infrastructural, and financial. Finally, careful analysis and review of the linkages between multiple parallel implementation steps will be necessary. For that, early investment in some of the specific action like concentrating on childhood education infrastructure is required, especially the rural area, so that we have smooth progression for all subsequent programs and actions. Now I would like to make some observations, present my own general observation about the NEP. What is the need, urgent need for introducing NEP during COVID-19 pandemic period without discussing it in the parliament, which is apex body, which has to debate and discuss and arrive at the consensus and thus implement anything, any important thing for the country. But it's hurriedly done during this tragic period of pandemic diseases which are prevalent. Second, introducing 3 languages at the primary level. We are going to torture the children, and that to giving importance to Hindi and Sanskrit, which is not spoken anywhere. Third one, common exams at 3rd, 5th, and 8th standard. You know, the exams conducted, this common exams conducted in those days at 8th standard level, ESLC. When they conducted these exams, quite a number of the rural students failed. That was the end of their educational career. Only few who passed could pursue studies. That is going to happen at the 3rd, 5th, and 8th standard level when they conduct a common exam. That means the rural students will be discriminated against this. They will not have access to higher education. Fourth one, introducing local trades at the primary. They want to have the vocational education already at the primary level. It is too early. It is very difficult for children to decide on their trade. And that too, it is said that the local trades will be presented, like farming, carpentry, which are prevalent in the rural area. That means these children hailing from rural area will not have aspiration to come up in life pursuing other higher trades which are prevalent in the cities. Then fifth one, need for introducing semester system at the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Is it required at this level? Again, you are going to torture the children. Psychological damage will be done, and many will drop out, and thus many may not aspire to go for college studies. Then sixth one, the best and bright students will be recruited for teaching profession. Yes, competent and creative. But we need teachers with compassionate heart, social consciousness, commitment, and caring. Are we going to farm teachers or only trained teachers who are intellectually great? We need to form teachers who will have that compassionate heart, social consciousness, commitment, and care for children. Then eighth one, in the 4-year integrated B.Ed program, learning of the core subjects may become a casualty, as we have experienced. Then the ninth one, undue importance is given to Hindi and Sanskrit. It is obviously stated that research will be done and the university of Sanskrit will be established, and which is not spoken anywhere, but importance is given to that at the expense of other classical languages like Tamil, Malayalam, other languages in India. Then the 10 colleges with less than 2,000 students will be closed. As it is at the present, rural students will not have access to college education. Now there are 50,000 colleges as per the new education policy, the national education policy. They will be reduced to 15 universities. That means many colleges, small colleges will not be in existence in rural area. All have to go rush to the cities or the district centers, which will be very expensive, which will not be feasible and possible for rural children. Introducing common entrance tests, again, it is a filtering system. As it is, we know whenever they conduct common tests for the whole country, what happens, we have experienced. That's what is going to happen. Many cannot have access to higher education. As it is, without that entrance test, so many, especially in Tamil Nadu, nearly 48% of the youngsters could get into higher education. But if we are going to introduce a common entrance test to go into college, certainly they will not have opportunity to go into the higher education. Then autonomous colleges. We talk of autonomous colleges, but it's centralized curriculum. It's a contradiction. Multiple entry system. Again, the degree level and all, they introduce multiple entrance entry system. It's a very good system. But in experience, we know once a student from rural area drops out at the end of the first year in college or second year, never again comes back to the college. That means again they will be discriminated against. Then fourth one, inviting foreign universities is certainly going to cause high fee and will create a sort of disparity between rich and poor. And reservation and minority rights are not at all mentioned, not given due importance in national education policy. Reservation should be there. Minority rights should be emphasized. Still, as they have rightly presented in the introduction, this disadvantaged group, the less representative groups given importance, should have access to higher education. Finally, we can summarize in 3 words, as some people have already expressed various webinars. The whole national education policy is meant centralization, commercialization, and communalization. Our view for this. Thank you for patient listening. Now, I invite Dr. Beulah Jeyarani, Assistant Professor of Pedagogy of Bioscience, to present her views, her analytical views about school education as given in the new education policy. Welcome. Hello?
Ma'am?
Beulah,
Hello?
ma'am,
Hello?
unmute.
Hello, is it visible, sir? Hello,
Ma'am,
am I audible?
Ma'am, visible, ma'am. Visible. Continue.
Sir, am I on? Thank you. Good evening, one and all. I'm Dr. Beulah. I'm going to present about any school education part 1. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use in the world, said by Swami Vivekananda. The school education consists of 3 components: students, teachers, and governance. I'm going to highlight all the 3 with challenges and suggestions in which turn the NEP 2020 option. The academic year consisting 10 plus 2, but academic structure it has been 5 plus 3 plus 3 4 years. It's LKG, UKG, standard, and have given the like 4. Then next term preparatory middle 7th 8th, they have given middle stage with the semester 10th and 20th. The things that play third activity stage will be explained discovery, interactive learning in the middle. The experiential learning is matters, social science, secondary will be multidisciplinary.
Excuse me, ma'am. Your voice is breaking, ma'am.
And
Beulah, ma'am.
choice of.
Excuse me.
First, we are going to stage the NEP.
Beulah, ma'am. Your voice is breaking, ma'am. We are not able to catch you up.
Hello?
Yes.
Is it audible?
Go ahead.
Hello? Is
Yes,
it audible?
go ahead.
Yes. So, NEP, they have introduced. Yes. Okay, sir. Yes. Okay. In this level, they have introduced easy education. It consists in gain, goal, focus, that promoting better overall learning and development and well-being of all the children.
If she's going to take time to come back, why don't you go to the next speaker, Dr. Carolyn Maria, Assistant Professor of Perspectives in Education. Are you ready to present? Hello? Hello?
Not responding. It's not responding.
Dr. Carolyn Maria?
Yes, Father. Yes,
Why don't
Father.
you start in the meantime?
Yeah, Father. Start. I start now. Good evening, one and all gathered here virtually. Let me use the given opportunity to discuss some of my insights on National Education Policy 2020 regarding higher education by focusing on three aspects as highlights, challenges of implementation, and some strategies for effective implementation. Let me spell out the highlights of higher education in three dimensions as students, teachers, and institutions. With regard to students, according to National Education Policy 2020, the aim of higher education is to focus on creative, humane, and all-round personality, for which there is going to be a revamp in the curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment for the sake of student support for enhanced students' experiences. In higher education, with regard to graduation, students are given an opportunity for multiple entry and exit, which is after the completion of first year, the students are given a certificate. And if they leave after second year, they are given a diploma. And on the completion of third year, students are given a degree. The financial assistance will be provided to only the meritorious students who belong to SC, ST, OBC, and other socio and economically disadvantaged group. There is an urgent need to hasten the spread of vocational education in India because it is aimed that by 2025, at least 50% of learners shall have the exposure to vocational education. Highlights on higher education with regard to teachers. NEP 2020 plans to reaffirm the integrity of faculty and institutional leadership positions through the merit appointment and career progression based on teaching, research, and service. Creating a system of multiple parameters for the proper performance assessment of teachers, it is a very good welcome note. Establishing National Research Foundation, which is an outstanding research progress body, which will address the skill gap between the institutional learning and the practical learning. With regard to the institutions, NEP gives an urge for moving towards multidisciplinary universities and colleges with a target of establishment of at least one multidisciplinary university per district by the target of 2030. Moving on to higher education institutions as clusters or knowledge hub of colleges which have less than 3,000 students as their strength. Then converting all the quality colleges to autonomous degree granting colleges. The present complex of nomenclature of higher education institutions in our country as deemed to be universities, affiliating technical university, unitary university shall be replaced simply by a term called university, which will fulfill the criteria as per the norms given. The high-performing Indian universities will have a chance to be encouraged to set up their campuses in other countries. Similarly, the top 100 universities in the world which are given chance to be operated in India. Probably, this will give a chance for the students for learning in India, rather affording a lot of money in other country. In one way, it will reduce the brain drain, but at the same time, the rural students may find it very difficult to access these institutions because of the exorbitant fee. What are the major transformations in higher education? The very first transformation is renaming the Ministry of Human Resource and Development to Ministry of Education, and it is already done by our Honorable President Sri Ramnath Kovind, on 17th August 2020. Actually, earlier it was Ministry of Education. When Sri Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister, it was renamed as Human Resource Development, Ministry of Human Resource Development. And now again, it is renamed as Ministry of Education. The next is the establishment of one umbrella institution called Higher Education Commission of India, which excludes the medical and legal education. The old autonomous bodies like UGC, AICTE, NAC, all are going to be replaced with 4 distinct independent bodies, which are National Higher Education Regulatory Council, which is responsible for regulation, General Education Council, which is responsible for the standard setting, and Higher Education Grants Council, which is responsible for funding, and National Accreditation Council, which is responsible for accreditation. Introducing a single university entrance exam conducted by National Testing Agency, because to seek admission in various institutions, students had to go for writing multiple examinations. In one way, this is advantageous with regard to quality sustenance, and since the question papers will be standardized and it will be error-free since it is conducted by NTA, and the admission process also will be streamlined. But in other way, it is a challenge that the state government will not have any role in education, and more chances for mushrooming of many coaching centers to crack these examinations, which may affect the rural students. The next one is academic bank credit. It is going to be established to digitally score all the academic credits of students. Then establishment of multidisciplinary education and research universities at par with IITs and IIMs to be set up as model institutions. Then the new and comprehensive national curriculum framework for teacher education will be formulated by the NCTE in consultation with NCERT, because by 2030, the minimum degree qualification for teaching will be 4-year integrated B.Ed degree. And the colleges too also will be either merged with universities or autonomous colleges. Let me focus on some of the challenges in the implementation of NEP 2020. NEP 2020 aims for the gross enrollment ratio to increase up to 50% by 2035, which is a real challenge, that because since it was only 26.3% in 2018. And bringing back 64 kalas or knowledge or the liberal arts is a challenge, where a lot of research to be done for more information about all these 64 kalas, and teachers have to be trained on all these kalas, because it is aimed by 2025 at least 50% of learners have the exposure for vocational education. The next important aspect is multiple entry and multiple exit in higher education. In one way, it reduces the dropouts in higher education due to various reasons, but with regard to the employment, whether these exit and entry are linked with the industries for employment, it is a challenge, because at the end of every year, both content mastery and skill mastery is expected in order to get a job. Moreover, what are the parameters for these exit and entry for getting a job? It is not mentioned very clearly. And the next important aspect is ABC, that is academic bank credit. All the academic credits, each student will be documented in digital mode, which is called as academic bank credit, as we have banks and we save money. 15 hours of class per course is equivalent for 1 credit. In order to get a degree, a student has to gain 120 credits, which comes around 1,800 hours. Only the students, when they reach 120 credits, they can go to concerned university where they have scored more than 40% of credits and they can acquire a degree certificate. And after acquiring the degree certificate, the credits will be removed from the academic credit bank, because as we are withdrawing the money, this also will be withdrawn. In one way, it is good. If any student is not comfortable with one course, they can anytime switch over to another course in the same institution or different institutions, having their credits stored in as well as carried further. In other way, it is a great challenge that if students get credits from different universities with regard to different ranks by NAC, transferring credits from A grade universities to C graded universities, it is a great task and which will need more clarity. Then with regard to the research and innovation investment, in India, in current time, it is only 0.69% of GDP, which is very less when compared to 2.8% in the United States of America and 4.3% in Israel and 4.2% in South Korea. The expenditure of education sector had increased from 2.8% in the year 2014 to 2015 to 3.1% in 2019-20, which is around 5.6 lakh crore. And in India, we do have the rank of 62nd rank in total public expenditure on education per student, which is not sufficient. So it is a great challenge. And NEP is aimed for focusing on global citizenship in education, which is a challenge because of the scarcity of graduates in environmental science and vocational education. The next challenge in higher education is all the teacher education programs must be conducted as multidisciplinary institutions, where there is a threat for all the standalone colleges who will face a lot of difficulties in merging with other institutions to run their B.Ed programs. And there is a danger for closing down various colleges in rural areas, since the benchmark is notified as 3,000 students should be there in a college as a minimum category. The next challenge is NEP is recommending for empowering the private higher education institutions to set fee for their programs independently, which will cause a danger for hike in fees, because this will ultimately affect the rural students, first generation learners, and minority people with regard to their religion and community. Private and self-financing institutions of higher education institutions are deprived of the rural fund, the research fund, and transforming all the higher education regulatory bodies to become as one umbrella term called Higher Education Commission of India, which may also risk for the increase of political interference. Let me just discuss some of the strategies for effective implementation of National Education Policy 2020. There is a need for generation of more research fund for private and self-financing higher education institutions for quality research, and avoid importing research from abroad and promote quality original research from India. There is a need for increase in pre-service and in-service training for teachers in vocational education. More research work to be done on tribal tradition and training teachers in different languages. Education should be in common universal language, because the local language can prevent global reach and global competence. There is an urgent need to reduce the fee structure to benefit many students from rural and socioeconomic weaker section as well as the minority community, since India is considered to be having a major population of these people. Let me conclude by saying that the policies and suggestions are looking good and great in paper and hope to change the face of Indian education system in the years to come. But what would happen with regard to the application, with regard to the implementation, that depends upon the objective approach and effective implementation. Let's envisage that a prosperous India with quality education to take our nation to greater heights. Thank you for the given opportunity. Let me now invite Ms. Sridevi to present her views on New Education Policy 2020.
Thank you, Caroline. Is it audible? Anyone?
It is audible. Go ahead.
Yes, yes, Father. So, good evening, one and all present here. I'm going to focus on Chapter 4, Curriculum and Pedagogy in Schools in Part 1, School Education, and Part 3, Other Area, Key Areas. Now, the whole chapter, the Chapter 4, Curriculum and Pedagogy in Schools, the whole chapter is aiming at to reconstruct school curriculum and pedagogy to enhance essential learning, critical thinking, and experiential learning for the learners. And the goal is nothing but holistic development of learners with the following 8 categories, that is critical thinking, logical reasoning, social responsibility, science temper, creativity, collaboration or teamwork, quantitative reasoning, and digital literacy. So already we know the structure is changed from 10 plus 2 to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Here, the first 5 years foundational stage, preparatory stage is 3 years, middle stage is 3 years, the secondary stage is 4 years, that is 9, 10, 11, 12, per year 2 semesters, so totally 8 semesters, but they're going to write the board exam at 12th standard. And again, the whole chapter is concentrating or focus on holistic development of the learners with 21st century skills. And also they want to give the hands-on experience, hands-on learning in arts, sports, storytelling based pedagogy, and etc. And they're going to introduce the high quality textbooks at the lowest level or lowest rate developed by the NCERT. And whatever the subject they are going to take, it should be in the form of home language or mother tongue, and they're going to standardize the Indian Sign Language, and already 3 language formula is there, they're going to continue with that. And curriculum integration, flexibility in choosing their individual curriculum, and also they're going to introduce the subject such as artificial intelligence, design thinking, holistic health, organic living, environmental education, GCED. And they're going to implement high quality common aptitude test named National Testing Agency to eliminate the need for taking coaching for this examination. This will be challenged. I'll tell you in the challenge part. And knowledge of India, this includes the knowledge from the ancient India and its constitution and to their link with the modern India. And next one also is very good, doing what's right, logical framework for making ethical decisions with value-based education. Then assessment, there is a change in the assessment. They're going to change the holistic 360-degree multidimensional progress card and a setup for NEC and Para. And they are given the programs for gifted children to encourage the students with singular interest. Now we are going to see the challenges of the chapter 4. The common examination for grade 3, 5, and 8. Is it possible for that at the age of 5, they're going to face the common examination? If the child is not able to clear that particular exam, what is the future of the child? Definitely the dropout ratio will be increased. And using our teaching learning strategies, we are using the methodology, so many methodology in the classroom, but still possible without the parallel changes in infrastructure, especially in the rural and tribal areas. Still few areas, basic facility of electricity is not there. Without electricity, we can't go further for the modern technology. And NCERT may not represent all states, and it is for curriculum demands as per regional level social aspirations. And they're going to take the common subject or curricula is very difficult in India because India is a country for much diversity. And already I said availability of the electronic gadgets and internet facility, especially in the rural and tribal areas, without the basic facility and introducing the electronic gadgets or whatever it is question mark for that. And NTA, already I said National Testing Agency, they're going to eliminate the coaching class. They said in the paragraph, but eliminate or promote the coaching class. For example, the government introduced the TRB, TET, NEET, and etc. So immediately what happened here and there, so many coaching classes are started by the some institutions. And parents thought that, so if the child is going and studying in the coaching class, then only they can clear the, TET or TRB or NEET. So similarly, what happened if you're going to introduce is eliminate or promote the coaching class? This is a question mark. And knowledge of India is also good, but history of India should be presented in the objective manner. And a few teachers or instructors not willing to work in rural area and tribal area, inability of the willing and efficient teachers to go and work in the tribal areas and remote areas. If the government pays attention on this and gives some extra incentives to the particular teachers, definitely they will be ready to go and work in that place. And struggle in handling, still few instructors or teacher educators or teachers are struggle in handling the coding sheet or coding methodology or modern methodology. And only few instructors have the basic knowledge in traditional training. And introduce of vocational subject is very good, but when you go for the remote area and tribal areas, what about the infrastructure of this and need of machinery in all the schools? And 360-degree progress card is very good, but still it is given in this that self-assessment and peer assessment should be given by the student. Is it possible? Because in the adolescent period, the student's mind will be wavering from one place to the another place. So how can they give the self-assessment and also peer assessment in the stage? And recommendations for this chapter number 4, 2 years of preschool with nutritious food instead of going for the 3 years. And no common examination for grades 3, 5, and they said the common examination for 3, 5, 8. So my recommendation is no common examination for grade 3, 5, 8. Because when I talked with the one big shot, he said that is 20 years back or 30 years back, the 8th standard is nothing but ESLC. That is, the government is the same common examination conducted by the government. The particular person is travel from the one village to another village and they go to write the common examination, 8th grade. But out of 40, only 8 are passed, the remaining will be dropouts. So this is the question answer. That's why I recommended no common examination for grades 3, 5, 8. And NCERT should be active role should be taken in the framing of curricular along with the NCERT. And integration of Indian art and culture is very good, but each and every state is having different kind of cultures. So keep it in mind and government should pay attention of this. And include educationists from each state in drafting the framework of curriculum. And orientation program, because they're going to introduce the value-based education and environmental education, traditional way of learning, means we have to give the orientation program and in-service program to the educators. For that, it can strengthen our NSS, YRC, RRC programs at school levels. And again, for teacher educators, we have to give the hands-on experience how to handle the digital resources, AI, etc. And they have given the programs for gifted children, not for the average and below average. In our classroom, individual differences will be there. The students from the various background. So we have to take care of the average and below average students also. So the program should be given for these students also. And marks allotment for curricular and co-curricular and extracurricular activities. Then only the students motivately they participate in all the curricular activities. And recruitment of the teachers for especially language teaching and foreign languages. And we should give because they are going to standardize the sign language formula. So sign languages differs from each and every area. So we can give the orientation program on sign language. And other key areas of focus, that is part 3, I'm going to focus on professional education, adult education, promotion of Indian language.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, Father.
Miss Sridevi, are you in? Miss Sridevi, are you in? If not, Dr. Beulah Jeyarani, are you ready?
Yes, Father.
Yeah, you come back and present it quickly. We are
Yes.
on short time. Okay.
Full screen. Father, PPT is visible or not, Father? Am I audible? Hello?
Go fast, yes. Visible, audible.
Yes,
go
Father.
fast.
Thank you. Yes, Father. In the foundational level, sorry for the inconvenience. Let me continue with the foundational level. In the foundational level, the government has introduced ECCE, Early Childhood Care and Education, with the aim, goal, and focus. Main aim to promoting better overall learning, development, and well-being of the children, not later than 2030, with the cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. There are more challenges to execute this foundational level because the Anganwadi supervisors are not skilled or accomplished teachers. They got very less qualification. Previous years, they were selected after completing 10th standard and 12th standard. In Tamil Nadu, ICD is only controlling Anganwadi centers. In Tamil Nadu, we got nearly 54,439 Anganwadi centers. Out of that, 49,499 Anganwadi centers are bigger in size, and 434 is mini Anganwadi centers covering 32 districts. In overall India, 13,77,000 Anganwadi centers are seen as per the official data of 2019. So, for Anganwadi centers, we have to implement with all the equipments, as well as minimum 3 teachers to teach all the components of reading, writing, arithmetic, logic, everything. So if you are appointing minimum 3 teachers means overall India, we have to appoint nearly 41,31,000 teachers. It's a great challenge for the government. And then at present, all the Anganwadi centers are with a single room. We have to construct infrastructure too. And then some suggestions related to Anganwadi centers. Already the those who are working in Anganwadi centers, they are all with less qualification. For them, we can, in the educational institution, we can give diploma and certificate program, especially with the NCERT syllabus. For that, we required 4 C's. That is curriculum, communication, continuous assessment, and commitment. All the 4 C's we can give by digital and distant mode with a smartphone. Some more suggestions are we can adopt some Anganwadi centers, and then we can do some research, and then we can find out some problems, and we can find out solution for the particular problem too. Along with the other staff, Anganwadi supervisors, we can appoint interested B.Ed completed teachers also to work in Anganwadi with the same pay of other qualified teachers with a B.Ed. In that way, we can enhance the Anganwadi. Second point is FLN, Foundational Literacy and Numeracy. It consists in aim, mission, goal, and focus. But main focus is to excel in reading, writing, speaking, counting, arithmetic, and mathematical thinking in first standard and second standard students. Here also a lot of challenges we can see. According to NEP 2020, students up to 5th standard will be taught in mother language or local language and the national language only. The rest of the subject, even if they are in English, will be taught as a subject. So, minimum we have to appoint 3 staffs. In throughout India, nearly 92,275 single teacher schools are working. In Madhya Pradesh, nearly 18,307, Rajasthan 12,052, Uttar Pradesh 8,092, Jharkhand 7,564, Andhra Pradesh 7,483, Karnataka 4,767, and Tamil Nadu only 1,057 with the students of 31,710 in 10 districts. So, if you are appointing minimum 3 staffs in that primary level, we require 276,825 teachers we require, as well as the government must appoint. Infrastructure too. In many single school teachers or a single room, in the single room only they are all working. So for that, we must provide minimum 2 rooms with a restroom. Many interior villages have only single teachers in the schools. The student-teacher ratio given is 25:1 in NEP 2020. When we can't find that, then the condition of the school will be, it's a great question mark. Creating library. Already the school is plying with a single room. Creating library is really, it's a great challenge. First, we must understand that language is not a knowledge. It is a skill for communication. I'll repeat one more time. Language is not a knowledge. It is a skill for communication. Many educational institutions can create and adopt library in schools with the help of alumni, local well-wishers, public, like providing books, comics, short stories, paper, and basic science facts. For that, we need 3 C's to create interest among the students. Without that, creating a library inside the school premises, it's a waste of time, waste of energy. 3 C's are, we must create interest among the students. After completing the particular book, reading the particular book, we must conduct simple competition, oral competitions. Then, if the children is capable of giving all the answers related to the book or comics, we can issue the certificates of completion. That will motivate the students to learn more number of books. Curtailing dropouts. Focus of this curtailing dropout is to undertake initiative to bring children who have dropped out back to school and to prevent further children from dropping out. For that, in that curtailing dropout, the NEP has introduced vocational education too. Lot of challenges here also, we can see that. Throughout the world, every 26 seconds, a student drops out of schools due to lack of interest, difficulty in learning the concept, poverty also. So bringing back all the school children to the curriculum, it's a great task. One-on-one peer tutoring with the alumni, the NEP mentioned. Many alumni, they settled in many far-off places. Bringing back all the alumni to the alma mater, it's a great question. 100% gross enrollment ratio in preschool to secondary level by 2030. It's another great difficulty. Suggestion for curtailing dropout. Student must pursue their education in the same language that he or she dropped out from. Alumni won't be available all the time. Must create alumni data in all the educational institutions with the present position of 4 C's. You must create data of alumni in the software. You must collect information of alumni. And then we must contact all the alumni in person, and we have to collaborate alumni in all the programs. So that will motivate the alumni to come back to the alma mater. Teachers. It consists in game, focus, goal, mission. But the main mission is to serve the society through creating best students. The NEP, according to NEP, they are going to fill all the vacancies with the suitable incentives. Along with that, they have given some more implementations too. They are going to provide merit scholarship. I'll repeat one more time. They are going to provide only merit scholarship for the 4-year BEd students. Local employment, no transfer, incentives or increased housing allowance, transparent transfer, in-service training on safety and health and environment. Challenges. NEP announced that 50 hours of continuous professional development opportunity. But it is difficult for all the teachers to attend at a time. NCT to be restructured as a professional standard setting body under General Education Council. But basis of selection committee members, they have not mentioned, not given any detail. It's hidden. Shorter post-BEd certificate courses will also be made widely available at multidisciplinary colleges and universities, but during the working hours. It is very difficult to attend by the teachers. That is another task. Master instructor, they are going to invite the person, those who are excel in vocational training. We can invite, we can use it, but there are also a lot of challenges. We can't expect them to explain in all the content in an orderly way with the clarity. And then they are going to recruit the teacher by TET, NTA test and classroom demonstration. Along with that, they are going to conduct national level competition. It's total waste. They are going to work in local level and district level. So national level is highly ineffective. Teacher professional development, it's merit-based tenure track system for promotion but tracking is too difficult also, as well as this tracking will encourage bribing also. Loopholes will be there. Suggestions can provide, along with the merit scholarship, we can provide scholarship for economically weaker B.Ed students. They can go for state level TET exams, not in the national level. We can give more number of in-service training as well as with the certificates. We can evaluate the teachers by 5 Ps: personal evaluation, people evaluation, peer evaluation, parents evaluation, principal evaluation. But they are going to evaluate one randomly from the students. That is ineffective. Sixth term is learning for all. Here, to ensure that no child loses any opportunity to learn and excel, even the children with disabilities, girls, transgender also must fund to provide equitable quality education. Along with that, many implementations also they were given: scholarship, counselor, KV schools, Kasturiba Gandhi Balvika Vidyalaya, Javagar Navodaya Vidyalaya, and then they are going to announce disadvantaged region as a special education zone. It's nice, but there is a challenge. They have mingled with the gender, caste, disability, people with the SC, ST, OBC minorities. Under this heading is not as per the vision and provision of Constitution of India. This will invalidate the Constitution to establish a society of equal and the struggle for all the oppressed group for the benefits they are entitled to. Some suggestions. We must mention they must give specific guidelines for curriculum in inclusive education can be framed. NEP 2020 would be highly appreciated if a proper curriculum is chalked out by the panel of special educators and counselors for children with different disabilities. Guidelines regarding training such students can be framed such that they become a part of the mainstream education. If suggestions are carried out only effectively, then only equitable and inclusive education can be attained. Seventh one, Samagra Shiksha scheme. Here, the mission is producing quality teachers with the two T's, teacher and technology. Challenges. NEP mentioned that they are going to create public website in maintain to make the information available to all the people. But there are chances of stealing and misusing the data of the institution, students and teachers also. It's a great challenge. NEP mentioned that feedback from the students are collected randomly to ensure valuable input at regular interval, but must collect feedback from all the students, not by random. It will mislead the results. They are going to providing technology and power supply for the rural and tribal areas is a great task. Some suggestions. Must appoint music, art and sports specialized teacher to the disabled children. We must strengthening the network and power supply to the rural and tribal areas by providing them with a better provision, identifying the problem in the particular region and to overcome the issues to maintain the standards. Common network places to be introduced with the high-speed connectivity along with the technician to be appointed to help and guide. Last topic, school education system. Yeah, to empower school and teachers with the trust, enabling them to strive for excellence. Challenges. Complete transparency and full public disclosure of the full finance procedure, educational outcomes, it's mentioned in NEP. But transparency in finance and privatization is a big challenge to the government. Ensuring safety and security for girl children in remote areas is a demanding task, through which way the outcome ought to be assessed by considering the intervening variables. It's not clear in NEP. Field work is needed for locating the problem for the underprivileged and disadvantaged sections. Some more suggestions. We can showcase the talents and portfolio of the students to be maintained within the school. Transformation of other community to the next level to be informed to the people in regular intervals. To acknowledge students' need and thirst, SMC members to be given proper orientation. To have a bird's eye view, principals, teachers and other stakeholders to be ready to address the future needs. Last is school complex inside the school. They are going to compile all the counselors, trained social workers, teachers, resource persons together. They are going to give education to all the people. DSC, DEO, BEO, DSP, SMC. They are going to work together. But there are challenges. Semi-autonomous status to be given to the group of schools in which some schools may be dominate the other schools. Addressing the local needs and finding solution for the local problem in midst of the school complex as clusters is a threat. Suggestions. We must increase the number of schools and transportation, sharing of resources, teachers to be planned and guided by the education officers, not by the lay person. Joint development program to be designed. Finding the root cause for the local people, that is very important. And then we must maintain the infrastructure, number of teachers with the proper qualification is mandatory. We must standard of public government schools to be strengthened. We must look at the faced by unprivileged and disadvantaged section. Assessment by the national agency can be addressed. Transparency can be established by incorporating strict norms and rules. Follow-up is needed, one-to-one make them to learn and to prevent wastage in education. Local government should have an eye on safety and security of the girls. School counselors should address the students at regular intervals. Safety and security to be strengthened in remote areas. And before setting the criteria and benchmark, the particular state and district have to look onto the public schools and infrastructures available over there. Thank you.
Ma'am, Beulah ma'am, you can close your presentation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Beulah Jeyarani, for your presentation. Now, I would invite once again Ms. Sridevi to complete her presentation.
Oh, sorry, Father, it's a power cut. That is why I can. Oh, no?
Yeah, that is not.
Okay. Anyway, now other key areas of focus, part 3. I think I have completed the chapter 4. Now here I'm going to concentrate on professional education, adult education, promotion of Indian languages, arts and culture, technology use and integration, online and digital education. Professional education aim is to organically evolve into institutions, clusters offering both seamless and integrated manner by 2030. And goal of this chapter is to become an integral part of the overall higher education system and must involve an education in the ethics and importance of public purpose. Here, they are going to strengthen the agriculture education with suitable technologies. And the legal education, they're going to introduce the bilingual education for future lawyers and judges. That is, one is English, the other one is state language. Next is healthcare education, and all the students of allopathic medical education must have the basic understanding or knowledge on Ayurveda, Yoga, Naturopathy, Unani, and vice versa. And adult education, this chapter, the aim is to be aware of one's basic rights and responsibility as a citizen of India and education for all. Goal, lifelong learning opportunities for individuals that enable the people to progress personally and professionally. Now, in this adult education chapter, the government is going to concentrate on 100% literacy and lifelong learning for all the citizens. And they're going to frame the separate curriculum framework developed by the NCERT and suitable infrastructure, and they're going to appoint the instructors, educators, volunteers, and accessibility of the books in local libraries. Next one, promotion of Indian languages, arts, and culture. Aim is to make drastic change in the areas of arts, culture, and language learning and to bridge linguistic gaps. Goal, provide a space for the students to learn more about the Indian culture, arts, and languages with exploration. Now, they're going to integrate the Indian languages with school and higher education and at every level with high quality of textbooks, videos, e-content, and etc. And 3-language formula is going to continue, and emphasis on music, arts, craft in all levels of school. And 4 years, like 4 years integrated BA, they're going to develop the 4-year dual programs for Indian languages, arts, music, and philosophy, etc. And they're going to establish one institute, that is IITI, Indian Institute of Translation and Interpretation, to make high quality of learning translation material in spoken and written form in Indian and foreign languages. And government is going to select 100 tourist destination for educational tour to visit different parts of country to understand the diversity of the nation. And Sanskrit will be the mainstream with schools and included as one of the languages in 3-language formula. Technology use and integration. The aim is to make Indian education one that's integrated with technology of the present of the future. Goal, create NETF and to keep in check with future disruptive technologies and make necessary changes in education. In this, they are going to create, that is going to form the one forum, that is National Education Technology Forum, NETF. Through this, they are going to develop the e-content in all states through Diksha platform. Focus on disruptive technologies, AI, 3D and 7D, virtual reality, and etc. So universities aim to offer PhD master's program in core areas through the platform of Swayam. And the last one, online and digital education. The aim of this is to recognize the importance of leveraging the advantages of the technology. The goal is nothing but ensuring the equitable use of technology. Now here they're focusing on, you have to give the suitable training for the teacher educator, that is efficient teachers in online classroom. And they're going to introduce the pilot studies for online education and going to change the digital infrastructure. They're going to introduce the online teaching platform and tools, content creation, and etc. Addressing the digital divide, 24/7 live programs for the students. And they're going to create the virtual labs, training, incentives for the teacher, those who are willing to work in this area. And online assessment and examination going to be implemented. The challenges in this chapter is, the agricultural technical park is very good idea, but it needs a large tract of lands so that we can make only in the rural areas, not in the urban area. And connecting the medical terms, that is allopathic and Ayurvedic, they're going to integrate. Suppose definitely will face the problem in creation of the curriculum and syllabus of all the medical fields. In adult education, we can say that age is also one factor for learning process. And most of the library in remote and tribal area, we have no network, even computer basic facility is not available in that few places. In teaching of Indian languages, several languages do not have a written script, especially in the Andaman Nicobar, we have so many tribal languages, we don't have a written script. And number of people who speak the Sanskrit language is 24,821 according to the census 2011 given by the government of India. And tourist destination provided by center may not be accessible for rural area students and remote area students. Several institutions doesn't have the infrastructure, especially in the rural and tribal area, doesn't have an infrastructure for the technology to be implemented. The government has to pay attention on this. Recommendation of this chapter, the committee must have, we have to form the committee to integrate the allopathic and Ayurvedic and medical practices in the syllabus. Students from the rural area must be given scholarship, reservation to study courses, that is to the students from the rural and tribal areas. We have to give the scholarship. And in adult education, already said age is the factor for learning process. So why can't we get the syllabus for 35 to 45 age and 45 to 55, 55 to 65, 65 to 75. So syllabus can be formed like this. And they're going to digitalize all the libraries in India, make sure everyone should access the computer and internet. And we have to give the priority to the tribal language also. And the number of teachers needed to be higher for the department craft and art definitely will create the financial burden for the not only in the private school, government school also. There must be proper research and development to set up the institute of IITA, and it will take long time to establish and function properly. And students can visit nearest tourist site and site of importance and learn about more about the local history and culture, etc. Government must conduct an analysis. The government should conduct the analysis for each and every district. School must have the necessary internet facility, and they can provide, that is, they can get the help from the BSNL. Thank you for the opportunity given. Thank you, Father.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
I sincerely thank all the speakers for their wonderful and insightful presentation on NEP. Dear friends, now we will have the question session. You are most welcome to post your questions in the chat box. We shall take them for further discussion. You can also share your insights and opinions with us.
Since nobody is speaking, I think I'll say a few words about. I'm Father Joe Arun, and I'm thanking Father and all other professors who have been enlightening us with their very thick and what we call thick descriptions of the NEP, and also bringing out some of the salient features. I still feel that whether all these explanations will give to a novice or a person who has not really caught the grasp of this, I think to add to complement to all these people, we need to look at this. It is a policy for privatization. It is a policy for commercialization. It is a policy for globalization. It is a policy to replace constitution. If you take these four, when you analyze this, you will get a proper picture. You know, what we often do is we do a micro-analysis. Micro-analysis, you know, it will be a piecemeal information. It's a policy. It is not a implementing, what you call executive document. It is a policy. They cannot give you you are asking for minor matters. But I think we need to look at from the, what Father was saying initially, we need to look at from the very overall view of, we need to look at from the perspective of the rural poor, marginalized sections, minorities. If you look at that, I think we will get a picture. See, I'm trying to park our camera in a different position. You know, what we are doing is as a minor, smaller. You are going to micro level. I think we need to, all of us, and what I'm saying is to help all of us to realize how this is privatizing, how is it going to commercialize. It's going to hand over to two kinds of people, three kinds of people. One is landlords and barons of, for example, Saraya Vyapari, because they are the Kalvi Tandai. They are going to own these institutions, and it's also going to be handed over to global institutions. Third one is it's also going to be handed over to bureaucrats. You know, if you constantly look at it, who will finally say that you are eligible to be, for example, higher education, 2,000 to 5,000. Minimum 1,500. Otherwise, you will be affiliated to, you will join the affiliated university. So the three kinds of people going to rule, but there are other stakeholders, students, faculty, and the local community as no. So therefore, we need to look at from that perspective so that we will get, because at the end of what I all said, so many, but where are we? Like, we'll get that kind of a, ஒரு மலைப்பு வந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ஃபீலிங் வந்துரும்ங்கிற ஒரு ஐயப்பாடு எனக்கு இருக்கு. Otherwise, we need to work on. Also, you could also, as education college, you could also think of what are the ways we can mitigate these challenges. There are challenges. Can we have suggestions in order to mitigate these challenges? Otherwise, we will say nothing wrong. This is wrong. That is wrong. Therefore, it's not useful. But they are going to implement. Definitely, they are going to implement. How do we face this? This is the question coming from people like us, me. This question has to be answered. This is more of a complimenting and giving a direction. That's all. Otherwise, my sincere appreciation to all of you.
Thank you very much, Father, for your sharing. Father, we have a question. Since we are multilingual community, how the medium of instruction will work out? Up to class 5 will be in mother tongue or local language. What about, for example, children of migrants? I will repeat it once again. Since we are multilingual community, how the medium of instruction will work out. Up to class 5 will be in mother tongue or local language. What about those who are coming from some other states? For example, children of migrants.
I think it is a real challenge right now we are facing. But the migrants, they are going to be around the place for some more time. It is high time their children learn the local language. That is the only way to reduce that tension, conflict. Because now the migrants, when they move over to certain states, they stay on, some of them stay on for several years. And therefore, it is high time at least the children start learning the local language. Thank you.
Thank you, Father. Now we'll go for the next question. Is there any policy for girl child? Is there any policy for girl child? This is the question.
Brother,
Yes.
they will not mention any separate policy for girl child. Only they have mingled with, they have organized a policy for a disabled person, and then for special children, for together only they have given policy, not for especially for girls child alone. And then they have given policy for scholarly person, not other person also. So they are not differentiated properly in learning to all in that particular topic. They are not differentiated. They have given the policy for in generalized form.
Thank you, ma'am. Now there is another question from Father Victor Roach. Dear speakers, excellent presentation. Does NEP include the already excluded rural poor, Dalits, migrants, tribals and other marginalized groups? What are the means to include them? I repeat it. Does NEP include the already excluded rural poor, Dalits, migrants, tribals and other marginalized groups? What are the means to include them?
In the introduction, they have given beautifully stated that the needs of these people will be taken care. But actually, in the content of the national policy, there is no special sort of provision for these rural children or the migrants or the Dalits and marginalized. That is a major drawback. That's why I said there is no explicitly stated reservation policy or scholarship. To talk of scholarship on merit is among SC/ST and also other disadvantaged other people, irrespective of the caste. That means there is no special concentration or focus on the marginalized and disadvantaged group. That's a great undone minority. That is a drawback in the system.
That the previous question, excuse me, that previous question is about the girl child. That is plenty is given. Please don't say like that it's not given. It's plenty given about the girl children. You look at page 9 onwards, and also look at the policy 3.44, and again page 24, and also page 26 and 30. So therefore they are talking about it. And the 8.12, they talk about the girl children, particularly girl children, especially girl children, like that. So please, they are talking.
Thank you, Father. Now we'll move to the next question. Is there anything about value education, green education, ethics and happiness curriculum in the policy? Is there anything about value education, green education, ethics and happiness curriculum in the policy?
That's what they talk of, multidisciplinary curriculum or education. They clearly state that But as rightly Father Joran pointed out, they have not given the detail of executing this, but certainly there is a provision for all these things, the national education policy. It is integrated. When they talk integrated program, the multidisciplinary also they bring up. That's why they say no, there is no difference between curricular and co-curricular activities. Everything put together, and then overall holistic education is given for all-round development of the whole person who will care for the others, one another.
Thank you, Father. There is another question.
So,
Periodic supervision, evaluation, and guidance. How can this be done effectively, since at present it is done for namesake and not done seriously? I will repeat it. Periodic supervision, evaluation, and guidance. How can this be done effectively, since at present it is done for namesake and not done seriously?
that is the tragedy of our all our plan. The plans are wonderfully stated, but in implementation, the India fails. We have to wait and see. They have stipulated a number of bodies for supervision and other things. We have to wait and see. We can't give 100% assurance of effective supervision. The implementation should be taken care of.
Thank you, Father. There is another question. Does this education system provides rationality? Does this education system provides rationality?
We don't understand the question.
It's a question asked from YouTube.
Yeah, I think they are. Every area of a policy. I think there is a rationality, but the rationality is not for the people, but the rationality from the different points of view, I think.
Thank you, Father.
Okay, if you don't have any other questions, shall we conclude the session with a vote of thanks? First and foremost, I would like to thank Father Francis Xavier, our rector, Loyola College, for prompting me to organize such a webinar. Thank you very much, Father. And also, I would like to thank all the staff of Loyola College of Education, headed by our principal, Dr. Colonde Teresa. In particular, the three professors, Dr. Beulah Jeyarani, Dr. Caroline Maria, and Ms. Sridevi, who took so much effort to prepare this one meticulously and present it. When I proposed it, they willingly accepted, and then they have done their job well. So thank you so much. Then I would like to thank our Jesuit young brothers, Brother Thomas, Albinus, and Xavier, for providing technical assistance and so that everything goes smoothly. And also I would like to thank Brother Xavier for moderating the session. And also I would like to thank the Jesuit community, Loyola Jesuit community, for their moral support to organize such a program. Above all, my special thanks goes to all the students of Loyola College of Education, the participants from various sectors, and for their active and patient listening to our presentation. I really thank one and all for your active cooperation with us during this webinar. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening. May the Lord bless every one of us. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Father.
Hello, Rebecca. Yes, thank you, Babu. Thank you, Vijay. That alumni joined the meeting. Thank you.
Beulah ma'am, Caroline ma'am, Sridevi ma'am.